My name's Oscar Arellano. My artist name is Tipsy or Thursday Island Psychic Charity, T.I.P.C. However you want to refer to me or my music, it's all good. So first, I would say I'm a drummer. Um, I play in a band called Coboscopy, and that was my first instrument. Well, my second, but I always knew I wanted to be a drummer. Thanks to my friend Kane, I learned a lot about guitar and tuning and things like that. But my goal, I knew I wanted to play drums. I wanted to be in a band. I wanted to play drums. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, I've been playing drums. I don't remember the last time my drum set was not set up. You know, still playing shows, still doing drums. As far as Tipsy, the way that started, actually didn't start as Tipsy. I started off playing with Debbie, and we were OD. We were totally heavily influenced by Animal Collective. When we first heard them, it was music that I had never ever heard in my life. I didn't know it existed. I was completely wowed by it. It just opened my mind to a lot of musical groups, like Aphex Twin, one of my favorites, Bjork, things like that that I didn't even know existed. The way the organ came about, my friend Abraham totally hooked me up with it. He had an apartment that he was living at. I don't even know whose it was originally, but I would mess with it every time I would go visit him. I would play with the organ. How he gave me the organ, he asked me to help him move. He was moving to Fillmore, and that's what I did. And I helped him out, and then he hooked me up with the organ, and that's how it started. So Debbie and I, being heavily influenced by this like newfound music, we started using the organ, started doing like psychedelic, total experimental stuff. And we became OD, Oscar Debbie, OD, and it was super fun. We got to play a couple of shows. I wouldn't say like that many, but it was just super awesome time. So being that, she lived in Long Beach, I lived in Oxnard, and then after a while she moved to Wisconsin. Like, we kind of slowly stopped playing music together as OD. I kept using the organ, kept using the synth, kept practicing. By this time I got a loop pedal, influenced by one of my friends, Chris. I saw music with the guitar and I was like, I need that. So that's when I started doing solo work as Thursday Island Psychic Charity, which the name is super random. I just visualized a psychic giving his or hers services as charity on Thursday Island. Through collaborating with my friend Julio, who does film, he started using my music for short films and videos and super cool stuff. I got really big into film, and I still am. I got really into soundtracks, and this guy named Alexander Desplat, who does movie soundtracks. And that's one thing that I really like about the solo stuff that I do, is that I could just take the music whatever route. I mean, if it's beats or cinematic or experimental, or even I've been throwing in the djembe. So I started writing a lot of cinematic style of music, which, I mean, all music could be cinematic, obviously, but I was thinking like very emotional, intense stuff. And I started collaborating with Carmen, aka Luna Crave. We first started playing together at Sushi Ichiban. And it was great because I was so deep into the organ, the synth. I hadn't picked up a guitar in a really long time, but that's what she was used to. So I was like, you know what? Let's do some guitar stuff.
I'm not ashamed of my feet covered in dirt.
And now I even use guitar in my own solo work. And her as well, she brought out the guitar in me. She wasn't used to synth and organ electronic stuff, and so it was like a good match. Like we both learned from each other.
You're never too young, you're never too old to find the wisdom within you. Let it grow, let it grow, let it flow. It's time to walk the line. Past the ego and the pride, past the ego and the pride.
So after Ichiban, we kept collaborating. We keep start playing shows, and we're pretty much almost done with our full-length album. And so that's gonna be released 2018 September, probably, maybe the end of August. I don't know. It's been really fun.
Enemy, que soy fuego. Vete de mí, que te quemo.
So going to how Debbie and I reconnected musically, I mean, because we've always been friends, never stopped being friends. She moved, back to Oxnard, so we always wanted to keep playing music. It was just a distance thing before that. So we released an album called OD Edition. Obviously, OD referencing our beginning, OD. So it's called OD Edition. Super cool. Super stoked about it. And I released 2 solo albums. And I also plan on releasing another solo album. It's going to be called Self-Correcting Knowledge, which is referencing the scientific method, that's the definition by Professor Wallace Zane at CSUCI. And that's another influence too, is my studies in anthropology or Chicano studies. That's where I learned a lot about the djembe, was at school when I took an African drumming class. So my studies always sneak into my music too. Getting back to the album, I want it to be a collaborative album, so it's gonna have Debutonica, Luna Crave, my friend Abraham, Josiah, Onyx Studios, who I record everything with. And I want to include a bunch more people, so that one might take a little while to come out, but I have recorded a bunch of songs already for it, so it's not too far away. So even though I've tapped into different genres, or at least I think I am, maybe I just sound the same to everyone, I don't know. I do feel like I've created a signature sound that represents my music. So right now there's a lot of music that's going to be released. T.I.P.C second album, my album with Luna Crave, my solo album, and then I'm going to start working on a soundtrack for a film based in the 90s that my friend Julio is working on. So